The European Union has officially reached an agreement that starting in 2024, all smartphones sold in the EU must use USB-C for charging. The agreement also extends to certain peripherals, so not only must the iPhone ditch the Lightning port, but so must AirPods. Because of the success of this agreement passing in the EU, some American senators are also making a push for this in the United States, many claiming that this will reduce the amount of e-waste that's created for the multiple charging standards. In contrast, Apple has consistently pushed against this legislation, claiming the opposite, that it would actually create more e-waste to convert the iPhone to USB-C. As we all know, the iPhone 14 shipped with the Lightning port as expected, but the question is, will the iPhone 15 have the USB-C port? It has been reported that Apple is working on a completely portless iPhone that would only be charged wirelessly. As the need for corded iTunes syncing is waning, I think the biggest question is, do we really need any ports on the iPhone, or do we need it on any smartphone? I've been wirelessly charging my devices for many years. The only time I've used the Lightning port on my iPhone 11 Pro was to sync with my laptop or to even use corded Apple CarPlay. Now that most vehicle manufacturers are including wireless CarPlay, even that requirement is starting to fall away. As we see the battery life on these devices continue to lengthen and wireless charging to become more efficient and more prevalent, I think we're seeing less and less need for an actual port on our phones. Obviously, Apple has pushed back as they don't want to abandon their proprietary Lightning port for a standard they did not create and do not own any rights to. But that's already been done on the iPad, so why not the iPhone? If MacBooks charge USB-C and iPads charge USB-C, wouldn't the USB-C iPhone just make sense? Only time will tell, as Apple has been very tight-lipped themselves about when we might see the port show up on their phones. Guesses now are with the iPhone 15 next year, up to a few years from now with the iPhone 17. Technically, the deadline on the legislation in the EU doesn't require USB-C until December of 2024. All the devices released prior to this date are still exempt from legislation. Assuming we see the iPhone 15 next year in 2023 and the iPhone 16 in 2024, that would realistically push this change requirement back to the iPhone 17. This would make some sense as we're still expecting Apple to upgrade Lightning to USB 3.0 speeds from the current USB-C 2.0 offerings that is still being used in the iPhone 14. We'll be following this as closely as we can to bring you updates as the information from Apple trickles out.